At Farmers Insurance, we know a roof can withstand a lot. One exception being an airborne car. Seen it, covered it. Click for more.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
The following is a Podcast One Minnesota production.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
If it's made in Minnesota, who's making it and how?
Yeah, you got that right.
It's the makers of Minnesota, focusing on the products and services uniquely made in Minnesota, and conversations with the makers, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Minnesota about how they conceived of their products and how they brought them to market. With Stephanie Hansen, it's the makers of Minnesota.
Hi, this is Stephanie Hansen, and you're listening to The Makers of Minnesota, and we are on episode number 89, and we are with Julie Meyer from Julie Meyer's Handbags. Hi, Julie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on. I first ran across your handbags. I want to say, were you at like Urban, or not Urban Junket, because that's another handbag company. At the Urban Junket, Tracy Dyer had an event.
I wasn't at that, but I do some of the brewery shows. I do a lot of the shows around town.
Yeah,
so.
That's where I think I ran into you at your bags at an event, and I remembered liking them right away. I'm kind of a leather person. I like leather, and I like the way it smells and the way it feels.
Me too.
Yeah, I thought your bags were really beautifully done. I think what stood out to me when I first saw them was just the detail with which it looks like they're hard to make. Are they hard to make?
They're actually not. The material makes it look like it's difficult, but I've streamlined my process. I've got a really good system. They're not. I guess when I first got into it, it was kind of difficult, but no, I'm glad they looked.
Yeah, they do.
My goal is to make them really functional, streamline. Not a lot of detail, let the material show through. And the material is actually very durable.
So let's just get to brass tacks here 1 second. Why on earth, you're in your regular life and you're like, you know what? I want to design handbags. I want to be in the most competitive market in the world, and I'm a maker. Why did you pick handbags, and was that the market that you were just gravitated to right away?
No, I could never afford a really expensive leather bag.
Yeah.
And so I, started out sewing curtains and things like that around the house. And then about 10 years ago, when I was sitting on the couch with a newborn with my laptop, somebody sent me a link to Etsy, and I spent a few days wasting lots of time on there. And I'm like, hey, I make things, I can probably sell. So I started out making lunch bags and cleaning gloves out of oilcloth. And
Which is like the kind of cloth that has a shine on it or a sheen.
Yeah,
so,
they used it in the 50s and 60s for tablecloths and things like that. So I spent a few years, that was the heyday of Etsy. I was just sewing nonstop. I had big piles that I was taking to the post office, shipping all over the place. And that was good for a few years. And then Etsy started to slow down a little bit. And
do you think because more people were on it?
More people, and they opened up the venue to, they kind of redefined the handmade.
Because originally it was just people literally making crafts with their hands.
It was, yeah. Mm-hmm. Rob Kalin, the original founder, was still on when I started. And then when he sold out and they brought in investors, then it switched. And so then I decided I needed to switch out what I was making, look for something a little more higher price, to fill in the orders.
And I feel your best month making the oilcloth zip totes, let's just call them.
Yeah. Lunch bags. They were lunch bags. Yeah.
How much did you think you did?
Your
best month.
My best month, probably. Well, maybe 5,000 after
great.
all. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
But that was a while ago. And I wanted to get into purses, and so I did canvas and upholstery and vintage fabrics for a few years.
How did you think to do that? Just you went from the oilcloth,
that's
a
the
vintagey
and the kitschy was kind of in and at the height then, and And I was out, not only the oilcloth, I was buying like vintage tablecloths and making the lunch bags out of those, and those were fun. So then it was a lot of fun to go out and source those materials at estate sales and things like that.
Sure.
So I would find vintage upholstery and make bags and stuff. But I always knew I wanted to get into leather, but I had to hone my skills and acquire the tools and get the right machine.
How do you hone your skills as a sewer? Like, is it just you sew and
you just keep going? You amass a pile, and then there was a while a few years ago where I'm like, oh, I've got all this stuff, and like, what the heck? And I had seen a movie on the Eames designer.
Yes.
And he was
the designer of leather chairs.
Yeah. Furniture. So he had a whole warehouse of things that he had amassed just by honing his skills and making things. And, it bothered him to have all that until he realized, there's no way to get to this perfect chair without, 800 chairs behind it to get you there. So that's always been my goal, is to just get to the most perfect bag.
In making a leather bag, and you also are using like cowhide and fur. When I say cowhide, it's obviously that's leather.
It's the hair on cowhide.
Fur.
Yep.
Yeah,
some people
hair.
call it pony hide.
The hair on the cow.
Yeah.
That. Did you have to change? Like, you're not still able to use like your home sewing machine, are you?
No, I have an industrial machine.
Okay.
Yep. So it's got some power to get through the layers.
How did you learn to sew? Did you take like home ec in 7th grade, like the rest of us, and make a hamburger pillow?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people, I grew up around sewers. All the women in my family sewed. And,
really?
Yeah. I remember I had an aunt who had a room dedicated to her sewing, and I thought that was just amazing that you would do that. So my mom sewed, my grandma sewed. She actually
came
sewed
from
for
a long family of sewers.
the history of sewing. Yeah.
So, were you making, before you started making things because you had a baby at home, were you making like your own clothes or?
I did try clothes a little bit. I'm not too much into apparel. I remember I made a couple of outfits and I would wear them and I'd spend the whole day worrying that they were just going to come apart.
That is so funny.
Yes.
I never thought about that, but that's funny.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, apparel. I mean, I admire people that sew apparel, but that's not me.
So you have all this vintage stuff, and now you're like, okay, I want to make a leather bag. Do you have to go out and buy the leather? And I imagine it's pretty expensive.
It is. Yeah, it's an investment. I buy full hides.
Do you know the like tannery places where you get them? I'm totally talking out of my butt here, but.
No, I get most of my leather at like Tandy Leather. They're local independent stores where I can go in and touch and feel the leather and
And so you buy, is it like by the square foot or the skein?
Yeah, it's a whole hide. So when you bring it home, you can
can you see the legs? And
you can see where they were. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
The first one I bought, I kept in my studio for a couple of weeks and just like, it took me a long time to cut into the first one.
I bet, because it would, if you like cut it wrong or you made a mistake, and yet you have to make mistakes to.
Yep, exactly.
Was your first bag like, do you laugh at it now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. At shows, I get people that I still see like bags from 8 years ago that people are still carrying. And I'm just like, but they love them. So, yeah.
And so you have round shapes, you have square shapes, you have totes. Like, are you thinking seasonally when you're putting these bags together, or are you just sewing what you like, or like how are you establishing trends?
Kind of both. And the canteen bags, my new round bags, that has been in my head for a couple of years. And that's my latest design this past January, started prototyping that one. And little did I know that that's a trend coming up. So,
all right. So you're on trend.
Yes. Yeah. But a lot of them, actually, I sell so much online. I still sell quite a bit online. So a lot of them are designed to package and ship out. In this day and age of free shipping, I need to,
That's really interesting. So you changed your model because everybody does expect free shipping.
Yeah.
And of course, probably to ship a bag to someone's about less than $20, but still $20.
Yeah. Or if you ship internationally, it's quite a bit.
Yeah. So you're thinking about how that packaging works in terms of a shipping model.
Exactly.
Really interesting.
Yeah. And
so are there sizes you won't do because you just don't think you can ship right?
No. I mean, I'll do anything. But I pretty much have, in the past year, have spent this year kind of narrowing down, because when you are a maker, sometimes you just will wander too much and you'll have too many things,
Yep.
and your customer will just get confused and they won't know what to buy. So I've been narrowing it down to 5 or 6 different things that I make, trying to streamline it.
Is Etsy still a part of the business?
It is not like it used to, but so I'm on Etsy, my personal website, and I just started on Amazon Handmade.
I was going to ask you about that. So
Yeah.
Amazon Handmade, it's funny because Amazon bought Etsy, right?
Yes.
And now they're trying to go back to creating a handmade type of version again?
So they have a whole segment. I just did the American Craft Council show a week and a half ago, and
which is a great
Amazon
show.
Handmade was there. So they're really trying to ramp it up, and it's kind of a beast to figure out. It's not as easy as Etsy has been, but yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Someone told me that managing Amazon, it was Broadbridge that I just podcasted with. I just posted today. So you'll hear it in a couple of weeks. But she was saying it's almost like a full-time job managing like all the details of them.
It is. It took me about a month before I could get my first couple of listings up because there's so much to learn. And I feel like I only know just a small percentage of it. But,
Yeah.
Because the customer is different on Amazon. They want their stuff next day, and, returns
are
can happen.
important.
Yep, all that. Yeah.
Is there someone in your sphere or in the maker sphere that like they're an Amazon specialist that knows how to do all of this that you could hire?
Well, that would be nice.
I know. I'm thinking that's a job for someone.
Well, actually, my husband, he has been selling online. He sells cameras.
he
so
does?
he's been,
Cool.
yeah. So he has, he's gradually trying to take over the Amazon part for me,
Yep.
learning all the ins and outs. So, yeah.
Does he sell like vintage cameras?
He does. Yeah. He works for National Camera Exchange. So.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
I
So
love
he's
National
been
Camera
yep.
Exchange. Shout out for
Yeah.
the local John Liss.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Really cool guy.
Yeah.
Been
yeah.
doing it for a long time.
At Farmers Insurance, we know a roof can withstand a lot. One exception being an airborne car. Seen it, covered it. Click for more.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
All right. So you are selling online. You're selling on Etsy. Do you still go to shows?
That's also a major part. So I do about 12 to 15 shows a year. I'm trying to ramp that up a little more. And I do the juried shows.
You're going to be at Stone Arch Festival.
Yep.
I saw on your
I
website.
will.
Yeah.
I'll be at the Edina Art Fair before that. This coming Saturday, I'll be at the Walker.
Can I just pick at it for a second, like a show? Like obviously Walker, is that their jewelry and their Mother's Day show?
It
that
is.
they do?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jewelry, accessories.
That's a good show.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you're going to be at like Stone Arch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people have a sense of what that all entails, like setting up your booth and having a booth and merchandising
Yes.
your booth. It's
And
way more
having-
work than people think.
Yeah. You need a good tent. You need a lot of weights. You need to prepare for the elements.
Have you ever found yourself not prepared with stuff blowing all over?
Oh,
and-
my very first show I did was the Raspberry Festival 8 or 9 years ago. And I set up with a little card table, and I had like a little beach umbrella. Got all set up and had my stuff all laid out, handwritten signs. And somebody came up and said they wanted to buy something, and I was blown away. I'm like, oh my gosh, you really? And then a big storm came. And so I like tore it all down. I think I was set up for about an hour.
And
But-
then you have all leather stuff, so
Yeah, well, no, this was back in the oilcloth days, but now it's quite a bit. My husband's good at helping me schlep around to the shows. But
And does he do you go with your kids? And I mean, it's a family affair for lots of people because you can't just leave your kids at home.
Yeah, well, I can now, but yeah. They usually will show up at some of the bigger shows and check them out. Yeah,
You're in a super competitive industry, just fashion in general, and are there like other people that you admire that you try to emulate in that space?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I guess people like Larissa Loden.
Yeah, she's done a great job.
Yeah, I like seeing where she's going.
I liked having her on the show too. She was really
Yeah,
a
she's
professional
great.
lady. Mhm.
Yep. Let's see. Sarah Stray, she's another bag maker. Yeah, she's got a lot going on too. There's so many. Yeah.
Do you like read fashion magazines? Do you watch TV? Like, how do you get your inspiration of just what's on trend these days?
Yeah, I'm more into the crafting part of it, I guess. And I am just starting to like pay attention more to the fashion side. For me, it's more of like what I want to create and more of the hands-on.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're not creating what you think is going to be the next bestseller. You're creating what you like and what you think.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that really gives you gives your bags a point of view that's kind of uniquely your own.
Yeah, that's what I'm always looking for is the point of view. Narrow it down so people recognize it as one of my bags. And
is there so let's just say, and this happened to me actually, like the iPhone changed size. And now all of a sudden, like I had all these bags that my iPhone fit into, and now I have this gigantic iPhone that fits in nothing. Do you ever think about like the practical things like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, when at shows, people are always telling me, oh, I would like a bag that has this or that or the strap like this. So I always think about all those things. I always make sure there's an outside pocket for the cell phone. People love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're thinking about marketing, like you're in a visual medium, you need to have like cool looking models. You need to have a cool looking lifestyle Instagram. Do you do all that or do you hire that out?
No, it's all me. Yeah, all me. So
And is that like fun or does it feel exhausting sometimes?
it is both. Yeah, it is. Like Sunday, I spent all day Sunday sewing, but I'm like, oh, I should be Instagramming this. So it really slows you down shooting some videos or, there's.
Your husband is a camera person, so does he have a good video setup
He's
for you?
got the equipment, yeah.
That's
Well, I use my
nice.
phone for the videos, but we do have, pretty nice, all the lights and things like that.
Do you feel like you have to like curate everything, or will you make a video on your phone and if the lighting's not great, post it anyway, just kind of the rustic maker experience?
Well, sometimes, yeah, or filter it as much as I can, I guess. But yeah, I do kind of like that rustic look.
Are there apps or filters that you use for your phones or your videos that you recommend, or things you would say to other makers like, hey, try this?
Well, I'll run things through Photoshop. I'll take pictures with my
Okay.
phone and then send it back to my computer and shoot it back and forth. So that's time consuming. I just actually installed one of those slow-mo, fast-mo video apps. I can't remember the name of it now, but that's been a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's become a movement locally for these like maker shops like RAS, and there's another one I think coming to Rosedale, Ronnie and Loon maybe is the name of it. Does that appeal to you to be in a maker collective like that?
It does. Yeah. I know I had gotten requests in the past few years, but I wasn't at a point where I could do that. But yeah, I'm entertaining those now.
And I think people make a lot of community there, which seems to be helpful. What do you do for fun? Like when you're not working,
I like to see live music.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you like?
All around,
Where do you like to go?
First Avenue is my cozy spot.
Yes, it is a cozy
About
spot.
third, fourth row in. I like that.
You like to be right up in the
Oh,
front?
absolutely. Yeah.
I have to like sit in the balcony,
Drives-
and then if the show is gonna go later than 11:30, I'm like surly about it.
yeah.
Like, really? Come on.
No.
Or if like Margot Price, I think I got there at like 7:00. And
Oh, that was the big storm.
it was
right.
yeah, it was a big storm, and it was a
Yeah.
great show.
Yeah.
But at 10:30, she had just started. I was like, I've been here for hours now.
Oh
Let's
no!
get moving.
My motto is someone has to be in the third row center. It must be me.
Really? I love
Yeah.
that about you.
Oh,
How do
yeah.
you get to the third row? Do you budge?
Just excuse me.
Yeah, you just do that.
Or we'll get there in time too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to budge too much. I don't have a problem standing. My husband, on the other hand, but he's game for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on certain shows, I bet.
Yeah.
What's next? Like, what are you working on next? Do you have...
My summer show schedule is just underway, so that will keep me busy. I'm just starting to get into wholesale. I've got a lot of wholesale requests, so I'm hoping to spend midsummer working on that. And
So what does that look like? Someone like the Be Below calls you, just as an example, and says, hey, I'd like to carry some of your bags.
yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, then you just work out, your minimums and what your terms are.
Is that hard for you as a maker? Because are they wanting like to start with 20 bags, and then how long does it take? Like, how much inventory do
Yeah.
you carry, and how long does it take you to make a bag?
That's a good question. So I did time myself. I mean, usually I don't just do a bag from start to finish in one day. I'll spend like a whole day. Some of the leathers I hand stain, so I might spend a whole day staining and then another day cutting. But if I would do a bag from start to finish, one day I did 3 bags from start to finish, cutting and sewing, just to see, because people ask me that all the time. So
a wholesale account, how much inventory do they usually want?
Well, they usually ask you what your terms are, so I'll do a minimum of, like 12 wallets or 6 crossbody bags.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then do you have to deliver it, and then they don't give you the money until they sell it? Is that how that works?
Well,
is
wholesale
it like consignment?
it's a little different than consignment. Wholesale, they buy it outright. It's their inventory. And consignment, both of them. If it's local, I'll deliver. But yeah, you deliver them, keep track of your inventory. If it's consignment.
If they buy it outright, and they decide that they had it for 6 months and they only sold 2, can they have the option to give you the 4 back?
I haven't had that, but with consignment, that's kind of how that works. And most shops will do. A lot of shops are consignment. But the wholesale ones, I want those where they buy it, you
and you're
send
done.
it, and you're done. Yeah.
And consignment, like, I understand why people would do that, because maybe that'll get their products seen more than not.
Oh,
but
yeah.
from a maker standpoint, like, don't you just want to be like selling it and done with it and on to the next thing?
That's the goal.
Yeah. Do you take a vacation, or can you take a vacation?
The traveling shows are a vacation. When I do shows up, up in the like Bayfield, things like that.
That's kind of your vacation.
Yes,
wow.
Yeah.
Julie, that is a true entrepreneur.
Yeah.
All right. Because I'm just wondering, like, is it hard to turn it off?
It is, especially my home studio, it's out of my home.
Sure.
So that's my goal, is to grow it enough where I can move it out of my home. And because you can never be 100%, I think, when it's in your house.
Yeah. There's laundry, or the doorbell
rings,
or
that,
the dog.
or you can't just turn off the business and do all that. You always feel like you're not at 100% doing both of them. So
you feel like you're always behind.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And I do have a kind of a semi part-time day job too. So, yeah, I work for a couple of chiropractors, which gives me really great hours. I've got a couple of days off during the week and short days. So that helps.
Would your goal be to do this full time if you could?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you have a sense of like, okay, I just need to, this is how many bags I sold last year. This is how many I'm going to sell this year. And when I get to this level, then I can do it full time.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like, so I've been doing the leather for about 3 years now. And so I've honed my skills on that. And I've, like I said, this past year, funneled down my design options to just a few. And so I'm trying to position myself to, do more wholesale and do just, where I'm not sleeping at night and I'm just sewing just to grow it that way.
Yeah. So. And do you still love it?
I do.
Sometimes when you
absolutely.
start something, it feels like a job, but you seem like you're pretty passionate about it.
I am. It's what I like to do.
This is your thing.
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
So you're looking forward to finding the moment where you can go full time.
Yep. I feel like it's getting closer.
Yeah, it sure seems like it. We're going to post this podcast on the 22nd of May, and sounds like people should look in their June issue.
Oh, yes.
Of their favorite magazine,
yes.
Minneapolis St. Paul. Tell me about that.
Yes. So they found me at the American Craft Council like a week and a half ago. And
Ellie was there.
Yes. Yeah. Took some pictures there, and then emailed me last week and asked to pick up a few. And
So do you know the way that they'll use it or how they'll feature it, or do you just give them the stuff? And then...
So they asked for my round canteen bags, is what I call them.
Your new line.
Yeah, and they said they're doing a issue on the round purse trend. So
so you're right on trend. I love it.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you for being here today.
Yes, thank you.
It was super lovely to talk to you. Good luck. It's Julie Meyer, and you can find her handbags at Julie Meyer Handbags, MEYER handbags.com.
Yep.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you.
At Farmers Insurance, we know the sound of a perfect hot air balloon landing. And a less than perfect one. Seen it, covered it. Click for more.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. An F-16 pilot having hydraulic problems with his aircraft managed to parachute to safety as the plane smashed into a warehouse east of Los Angeles. Fire Captain Fernando Herrera.
That pilot landed in the March Air Force Base area, in the base itself.
Amazingly, there were no serious injuries after the plane hit the building. Alabama executed a man last night for his role in killing 4 people after an argument over a pickup truck. Tennessee executed a man who killed his wife. Reporters couldn't see the execution, but AP correspondent Travis Lawler says
we could hear sounds, including a singing that Mr. Johnson's attorney says was him singing a hymn.
Answering a reporter's question, President Trump said he hopes the U.S. is not on a path to war with Iran. Mr. Trump has dismissed suggestions that any of his advisors are trying to push him into a conflict. I'm Rita Foley.